sprinkles, Santa Claus's special elf, because everything is special with sprinkles. Santa Claus knows you're special too, and he has something to say to you. So listen close as Santa Claus shares holiday cheer with you. You can leave a special message for Santa Claus and get on the nice list at www.santaclaussays.net. Now here is the big man himself, Santa Claus!
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas to all the boys and girls of the world, and welcome to Santa's Workshop, Santa's place, Santa's village, where I say to you that Santa Claus says, be good for goodness sakes. Welcome to SantaClausSays.net. This is where we share with you three things every day during Christmas time. We share with you, number one is Christmas cheer. Number two is a wonderful Christmas story. And number three is letters to Santa. You can send your messages to me, Santa Claus, at SantaClausSays.net. And that is where you can send me a message. You can send it to me via voice message. You can send it to me via a text message, or you can send it to me through an email. If you do the email, you can go to SantaClausSays.net/present, and I will send you a present in your email. I hope that you'll do that. And some of your moms and dads may want to look a little further about a special way I can communicate with you with a video message or a video visit, a Zoom call. So we look forward to hearing from you here at SantaClausSays.net, and where we have a lot of fun together. There is our Glockenspiel, which is our very nice tone, our very nice chimes that Sprinkles, our wonderful elf, gives to us. And she is reminding us that it's story time here at SantaClausSays.net. And we, every day during Christmas, we're reading this book, The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus by L. Frank Baum. And this book, and the writer L. Frank Baum wrote this book about me, Santa Claus, but he also wrote a wonderful book called The Wizard of Oz. And many of you have seen the movie about that. And every day during Christmas, we're reading part of this book. So if you miss any of these readings, you can go back to a previous episode of the SantaClausSays.net, and you can catch up there. And then you can also look forward to every to the book as we read it every day during Christmas. And then don't forget, we have our time of our Santa Claus letters to Santa Claus as well. So today we begin the second section of the book, which is called Manhood, where Santa Claus goes from youth to manhood. And this chapter is called The Laughing Valley. Here we go. Let's begin. When Claus came to the valley was empty save for the grass, the brook, the wildflowers, the bees, and the butterflies. If he would make his home here and live after the fashion of men, he must have a house. This puzzled him at first, but while he stood smiling in the sunshine, he suddenly found beside him old Nelko, the servant of the master woodsman. Nelko bore an axe, strong and broad, with a blade that gleamed like burnished silver. Thus he placed it in the young man's hand, and then disappeared without a word. Claus understood, and turning to the forest edge, he selected a number of fallen tree trunks, which he began to clear with the dead branches. He would not cut into a living tree. His life among the lymphs who guarded the forest had taught him that a live tree is sacred, being a created thing endowed with feeling. But with the dead and fallen trees, it was different. They had fulfilled their destiny as active members of the forest community, and now it was fitting that their remains should minister to the needs of man. The axe bit deep into the logs at every stroke. It seemed to have a force of its own, and Claus had but to swing and to guide it. When shadows began creeping over the green hills to lie in the valley overnight, the young man had chopped many logs into equal lengths and proper shapes for building a house, such as he had seen the poorer classes of men inhabit. Then, resolving to wait another day before he tried to fit the logs together, Claus ate some of the sweet roots, as he knew how to find, and he drank deeply from the laughing brook, and lay down to sleep in the grass, first seeking a spot where no flowers grew, lest the weight of his body should crush them. And while he slumbered and breathed in the perfume of the wondrous valley, the spirit of happiness crept into his heart and drove out all terror and care and misgivings. Never more would the face of Claus be clouded with anxieties. Never more would the trials of life weigh him down as with a burden. The Laughing Valley had claimed him for its own. Would that we all might live in such a delightful place. But then, maybe, it would become overcrowded, for ages had awaited a tenant. Was it by chance that it led a young Claus to make his home in Happy Vale? Or may we guess that his thoughtful friends, the immortals, had directed his steps where he wandered away from Burzee to seek a home in a great world. Certain it was that the moon peered over the hilltop and flooded with its soft beams the body of the sleeping stranger. The Laughing Valley was filled with the queer, crooked shapes of the friendly Canucks. Those people spoke no words, but worked with skill and swiftness. The logs Claus had trimmed with his bright axe were carried to a spot beside the brook and fitted one upon another. And during the night, a strong and roomy dwelling was built. The birds came sweeping into the valley at daybreak, with their songs, so seldom heard in the deep wood, aroused the stranger. He rubbed the web of sleep from his eyelids and looked around. The house met his gaze. "I must thank the Canucks for this," he said, gratefully. Then he walked to his dwelling and entered the doorway. A large room faced him, having a fireplace at the end and a table and a bench in the middle. Beside the fireplace was a cupboard. Another doorway was beyond. Claus entered here also and saw a similar room with a bed against the wall and a stool set near a small stand. On the bed were many layers of dried moss brought in from the forest. "Indeed, it is a palace," he exclaimed as the smiling Claus. "I must thank the good Canucks again for their knowledge of man's needs, as well as for their labors on my behalf." He left his new home with glad feelings that he was not quite alone in the world, although he had chosen to abandon the forest life. Friendships are not easily broken, and the immortals are everywhere. Upon reaching the brook, he drank of the pure water, and then sat down and pushed one rock against another, and crowded desperately to see which should see first to turn beyond. And as I raced away, he listened to the song they sang. "Rushing, pushing, on we go, not a wave may gently flow. All are too excited, every drop delighted turns to spray in merry play as we tumble on our way." We're going to close our reading for the day here of the first chapter from the manhood section of this book called The Life and the Adventures of Santa Claus. We'll conclude reading chapter 1 called The Laughing Valley on our next episode here of Santa Claus Says. So please look forward to that. Oh, there's our tone. There's our chimes. The glockenspiel, which Sprinkles reminds us, it's time now for our letter to Santa. We want to remind you that you can send your letter to Santa through our website, SantaClausSays.net. That's where you can leave me a voicemail. That's where you can leave me a text message. I get my text messages right here on my purple cell phone. And you can also send me a email. You go to santaclaussays.net/present to send me an email, and I will send you an email with a Christmas present inside of the email. And you also have opportunities, if you go to santaclaussays.net, to get a video message from Santa or a video chat, a Zoom call with Santa as well. But let's have our email, or let's have our message to Santa for today. And this is a very simple one. It's very right to the point. Dear Santa, don't worry about me this year. I already have what I want, and she's standing right next to me. Your friend, Taylor. That's a wonderful message, Taylor. I thank you for that. And I know the surprises are coming your way. Thank you, Taylor. It's good to hear from you. Well, there's our tone, boys and girls from around the world, which says it's almost time to conclude this episode of Santa Claus Says. We want you to know that every time we have Santa Claus Says, we have three things that we like to share. Number one is Christmas cheer. Number two is a Christmas story, the life and adventures of Santa Claus. And then number three is a letter to Santa. It's all because Santa loves you, and I want to hear from you, and I want to hear from you here at santaclaussays.net. We'll see you next time here at Boys and Girls on santaclaussays.net. Until then, remember, Santa Claus says, be good for goodness sakes. Ho, 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 ho. Goodbye, boys and girls. We'll see you again next time. Ho, 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 ho.
You're special to Santa Claus, just like sprinkles. Get on Santa's nice list at santaclaussays.net and watch Santa Claus Says on YouTube. Tell him Sprinkles sent you.